And this one tool, the reason that this entire video has a different vibe, has a different feel, really hit me hard, and it made me understand with complete clarity why and how I got to where I am today because of them. And it's not what you think. What's going on, guys? Adam Ivy, sellmusic.com, here to help you go further, faster in your music career by sharing proven marketing techniques and strategies to help you transform that passion for making music and turn it into a legitimate business that's going to provide you with freedom and fulfillment. Two of the most important things in life in general. Now, first and foremost, huge shout out to my boy Donovan, who sent me the sweet producer t-shirt. He also sent me a mug that was featured in a recent video. Really cool, obviously very comfortable, and red is my favorite color. So again, shout out to Donovan for that. I'm gonna have a link in the description box where you could pick yourself up a sweet producer t-shirt as well as a bunch of other merch. Donovan is the man, thank you. Now, this video is gonna be a little bit different because this morning when I was sitting downstairs warming up for the day, as I call it, drinking coffee, watching a little bit of TV, I noticed something on my bookshelf that threw me into the feeling of sentiment, right? Deeper thinking about life in general. Now, usually I'll watch a little TV or I'll read, listen to a podcast, or just think and meditate. And this morning turned into one of those thinking days. And I'll show you what the item was here right now. Now is this. This is what I saw on the bookshelf. I've seen this 1,000 times before because I've had it on the bookshelf for a very long time now. Now, what is it? This is a Whitner metronome that my grandmother owned before she passed away. It's not pretty, but to me it's absolutely beautiful. You open it up and decades and decades later, it still works, and I don't think I've ever wound it. It just works. Now, before you guys go crazy from the noise, it made me think. My grandmother, Virginia, I love her very much and I miss her very much. She had this on her baby grand piano for as long as I can remember. My grandmother was an organist and a pianist who went to college for music, and I think some of my musical ability might have stemmed from her as well, but she had played organ and piano at every church I can think of where I grew up in central Wisconsin, and I heard the noise of this metronome more times than not. And so every time I hear this, every time I hear any metronome, to be honest with you, I think of my grandmother. Now, what this had me thinking about is the reason why my grandmother never upgraded, right? There was digital versions that came out. There was prettier versions than this. It's kind of an old tin rust bucket at this point. Not really rusty, but corroded. It's not that it's particularly valuable, but guess what? It worked. And it was a utility and a tool that she used to get the job done, get her task completed. It didn't matter if it was the newest thing. It didn't matter if it was pretty, because it was reliable. This right here she could trust. Not just for a few weeks, not just for a few days. She took care of it. So it, in her mind, would always work. Now, how many times have we looked at ourselves as the same type of utility tool, the same type of thing that we can trust to get the job done, that we can trust to get our to-dos done, to get our goals accomplished? Some of us are lacking in that category. Now, you look at something like this, and it doesn't look impressive at first, but if you would hear the hundreds, if not thousands of hours of music that my grandmother played because of that, you might look at it a little bit differently. That's what we have to start finding right in here and right up there. If we can't rely on ourselves to be that utility tool that takes us to our dreams and our accomplishments, we can't trust ourselves, then that's going to have a severe consequence on our self-confidence and our progress, right? We need to be reliable. We need to understand that it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you sound like. It doesn't matter if you smell, for that matter. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to make a change in those things that you find lacking in order to get stuff accomplished. Now, we can look at goals, we can look at dreams and visions and talk about the law of attraction, for example, but hard work is going to get you there a whole lot faster than just saying it until it happens. In fact, it's a combination tool of knowing that it's going to happen, but then working it into fruition. Everything I have in my life, whether it be, not the shirt is because of Donovan, and shout out to Donovan, but anything I have, whether it be the house, the watch, the car, the things, the financial stability, that's hard work gave me that, not luck. Now, obviously, I've been very fortunate and blessed, and my grandmother instilled upon me some incredible mindsets about life. I remember her telling me, Adam, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Now, as a 7 or 8 year old, that might be true, but I hear some pretty dumb questions sometimes. The fact of the matter is, you don't get answers unless you ask. So that's why I make videos just like this. And even though you might think they're silly, even though you might think they're common sense for others, you need answers. Another thing that my grandparents instilled in me was hard work and finding opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, my grandmother went to college, a Catholic college, because she was a devout Catholic, for music. She knew from a young age that she wanted music. And, God bless them, my great-grandparents, her parents, were supportive of sending her off to college to pursue playing piano, which, God bless them. Fact of the matter is, my grandmother didn't just magically get opportunities because she had a degree in music. She didn't magically get students over to her house to teach just from having a piano in her house. But a lot of us think that we're going to magically get all these opportunities just because we bought some cool studio gear, because we spent a few $100s on some software, because our beats are so great, or our songs that we're writing are incredible. Doesn't mean that an audience knows that. It doesn't mean that anyone understands what you have to offer. And that's where marketing comes in. That's why I'm so passionate about making videos just like this. My grandmother was a hustler before I knew what the word meant. She would go and she would teach piano lessons in-house, have people come over to her house. In fact, a lot of my high school mates, right, would be like, oh, is your grandmother Virginia? I took piano lessons with her. People that I had no idea were ever over at her house, I probably ran into several times while going to get fruit snacks from her pantry. Fact of the matter is, my grandfather was a hustler as well, and he taught me incredible work ethic. Just because he was retired didn't mean he didn't have to work. Just because you don't have to wake up early doesn't mean that you don't. Because things still need to get done. The world doesn't stop for you. The world doesn't stop for me. Didn't stop for them. The fact of the matter is, I say that a lot. When push comes to shove, because I say the fact of the matter is, I'm sorry, but when push comes to shove, you really have to go out there and show the world what you're capable of, because they're not coming to you to see it. You got to go and show them. My grandfather was a dairy farmer for a long, long time. Had a big piece of land up in Wisconsin with his 12 kids, and they had a dairy farm till he retired. And before that, he worked in an iron foundry, pouring iron, what do you want to call it? Iron Christmas tree bases. Go figure, right? But, there's a reason that I have the grip strength that I have, and I have crazy farmer strength is because of him. And I miss them very much, and I'm not trying to turn this into a crazy emotional sentiment video. But I'm saying this to you guys to let you know that you have to look within yourself to find what was instilled upon you by the people that came before you. I don't care if it's your parents, your grandparents, your friends, your family. You have to absorb their belief in you. You have to absorb what they've done and the shit they've gone through to understand if they can do it, you can do it. Doesn't matter if you have money, because tomorrow you might. The next year you might. Doesn't matter if you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, because tomorrow you might not have any money. Fact of the matter is we have to go out there and we have to provide value. We have to provide the skill sets in which we have up here and in here. We have to turn that into something tangible to share with the world. Now, even that goes even as far as a full-time job. How many people are out there sweeping for a living, digging ditches for a living, constructing things, doing oil changes, watching children, teaching children for a living? All things that the world needs. The world needs someone to fill up buckets of popcorn. The world needs somebody to paint lines on the road. But if you don't do it to the best of your ability, then you're wasting away. You have to be able to look within yourself. You have to be a utility that you can trust. You have to follow through with the things that you promise yourself. Because if you say, oh, this is my year, I'm going to post once to Instagram a day, I'm going to post twice to YouTube a week, I'm going to do this for my girl, I'm going to be charitable this year, and then you don't, and you make excuses and you justify it, then you lose your integrity and you lose a lot of that self-esteem and that self-confidence overall. Because if you can convince yourself that it's okay not to follow through on your own promises, how do you expect anyone else to follow through on theirs? Makes sense? Good. Now, before we get off this video, do it for my grandma and click this video, because I'm sure that it's going to take you to the next level if you take it seriously. Now, if you haven't yet, click that little subscribe button and smash the bell icon in the name of Virginia, my grandmother, to be notified first anytime I upload a video just like this. I hope you got some value, guys. Come join me over on Instagram. And until next video,